evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Happy Monday, happy Monday, happy Monday. Happy last Monday in August. Seemed like we just had August 1st around there. Seemed like we just did August 1st and now it's August 29th. Not sure where the time is going. Seemed like it was just August 1st and that was 5 weeks ago. My God. So, but hello and good evening. Happy Monday to you all. Gonna give some of y'all the time to chime in. Those of you on the radio, welcome, welcome. You're driving home. Welcome to those of you that are on 93.5 FM, Favor FM. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Those of you that are on YouTube, welcome. Those of you that are on Facebook, welcome to another session of Prayer for Marriages with myself and Evangelist Nikki. And today we're going to be talking about a topic that I know a lot of times persons really have issues and struggles with. And so, especially when it comes to our relationships, right? So, tonight we're going to talk about romance, women versus men, right? You know, what does romance mean to men versus what it means to women? And so, as normal, because I'm an advocate for the men. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Men should be cheering me on, right? So, because I'm an advocate for the men, I'm going to start off with the men. Take the lead on this topic for the men, and then Evangelist Nikki will do for the ladies, right?
We'll
So,
try. We'll try for the ladies.
so we're going to do two parts. So this week we're going to basically focus on what is romance for men, and then so she's going to chime in too. I'm not going to leave her out. She's going to be talking too, but I'm going to be mainly taking the lead, and then I'm going to let her talk the whole time. Not next week because next week is a holiday and I want to enjoy some barbecue, right? So the following week we're going to come back and we're going to talk about what does romance mean to women. So welcome for those of you that are on Facebook. Welcome, 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 and good evening again. All right. And so let's start off with prayer. And it's been in my spirit, like after we do the romance for women versus men, we're going to go into a series of prayer because we haven't prayed for the whole session in a long time. So we're going to go into that, after we finish this series. So we're going to start off with prayer. Want to welcome again everyone that is tuned in. I'm really happy for those of you that are on Facebook. Please go ahead and share. And so those of you that are on YouTube, welcome. All right. And so, Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you. We honor you. We give you thanks and we give you praise. Lord, we just thank you this evening for what you're about to do, how you're going to bring clarity for us and to us so that we will be able to intertwine and interact in our relationship just to make our marriages more successful and healthy and happy. And so both parties will be free to express themselves. So we thank you tonight, God, for what you're doing in the midst of prayer for marriages. Continue to bless us. Continue to cover us, myself and Evangelist Nikki and the team. We thank you tonight, Father, because we can do nothing of ourselves and we can do nothing without you. So, God, we just want to say thank you, Father, for loving us, for keeping us, for caring for us. Oh, God, continue to bless marriages everywhere. My God, the union that you established between a man and a woman, we thank you for that, mighty God, in the name of Jesus. And we give you thanks and we give you praise. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. So I'm going to give you, so again, if you just joined us, I'm going to give you the definition of romance, right? What is romance? And romance is not so much about a one time show of appreciation, acknowledgement, or affection. It's about small, everyday display of love, right? And so there's some things that we're going to pull out, how men think about um, about how men view romance versus how women view romance. And so we're going to take it tonight from the men's perspective, right? And then we're going to go to the women's perspective on not next week, but the week after. So, men. Now, Webster also defined romance as trying to influence someone with personal attention, gifts, or flattery, right? But any man we know would simply explain it as doing stuff they doing stuff that feels good, but it's not sex, right? And so we're gonna explore that because a lot of times, we talk about romance and we automatically gravitate to sex, but it's not so. It's not so. Romance is a total different ball game than sex. Now, sex does involve romance, and romance does involve sex, but romance takes on a whole totally different thing because if there's no romance, then the sex ain't right. All right. So we're gonna go into that, right? So now we're gonna go into some things that what men have to say about romance. Now I'm not a man, so what I did, I took a survey of men, some men that I know, like my brothers and my cousins, and men that I know that have wives. So I took a survey of the men that I know, right? And it was a few men, quite a few men, right? And I asked a question: do you yourself desire romance, right? And one of them answered, yes, very much. Now, it may seem like, Evangelist Nikki, that men don't desire romance, but they
They
do.
do.
They
They
do.
do.
Listen, my husband loved romance. He loved for me to romance him. Lord Jesus. And a lot of times as women, we tend to forget that our husbands want to be romanced as well, right? Evangelist Nikki, scoot over a little bit, I think because of the way the screen is to your, this way.
Back over here again.
Yes, yes, yes. Move over some because on Facebook I'm only seeing half of you. And so on, right. So you're good now. You're good. You're good. You're good. So, yeah. So, yes. So you seem like you're in the middle now. Yes, right. So a lot of times women don't feel like the men need romance, but men need romance, ladies. They need romance. They need romance, right? They need romance. And a lot of times we always say, my husband is not romantic. But are you showing him romance? And I think sometimes, ladies, this is not everybody, so don't come for me, ladies. But sometimes it seems like we don't give enough romance to our spouse. What says you, Evangelist Nikki?
I absolutely agree. Because as women, we tend to think, for men, when we think of men and romance, the first thing comes to our mind is we're thinking men only want sex. Now we're thinking in our minds, men see romance as a sexual act, not realizing it's way bigger than that. Like you mentioned, the definition is a little thing that we do in a day-to-day basis, and it's not just how the things we do, but how do we do it, right? How does it make them feel when we're doing those little things on a day-to-day basis? Most men, because some men don't even know what it is, to be honest with you, but they know they want it. So a lot of time they tend to define it as sexually. And that a lot of time women say, well, that's all he wants because he doesn't know how to like articulate really how to tell the woman this is what I want because he doesn't want the woman to say, well, because a lot of women will say, well, that's not a man thing, it's a woman thing. But remember, they have needs just as how we do. It's just that it's different, doesn't mean that it doesn't have a need. And one of the key things, honestly, that differentiate a relationship from a friendship is the romance factor. And I think someone was going to say, because I did the same thing that you were doing. So I peer a couple of my friends, my male friends, asked them, and one of the common theme that I get is that romance definitely it means different things to different people. To be honest, different men too, So you have to know the person you're with. But most of us women have similar ideas of what we mean when we say we want a guy to be more romantic. However, we don't pay attention when the man wanted to be romantic. All we hear is a sexual factor.
That's true.
We need
Now,
to pay more attention when they're communicating because they do definitely desire
and
romance.
guess what? They're talking to us. They're
Yeah.
speaking to us, but we don't hear it. We don't hear it. I think we turn a deaf ear to it. So we're gonna do better,
Yes.
ladies. We're gonna do better. We're gonna do better, right? And so men and women have different definitions of what love feels like and looks like. And what romance looks like and feels like, yeah, right? But we have different definitions now, and that led me to find out different definitions of romance women may have missed. Men and women, I like, as I said, have different definitions, right? Now, now, we heard of chick flicks, candlelight dinners, long walks on the beach. That may be your idea of a romantic date, right? For us ladies, that may be a romantic date for us. That may be romance for us. But our husband have their own ideas.
Yes.
And and I think just based off of, even with my girlfriends, right? I think that most of the time we and I'm gonna say I do it too, infringe our what we want on our husbands, and they just go with the flow. They go with the flow for the most part. They go with the flow, right? Because we may want to walk on the beach, but he may want to sit on the beach. He may just want to sit down on the beach or ride a bike on the boardwalk by the beach, right? So a lot of times we infringe out what we feel
We
romance
want, yes.
is, and guess what? That's okay, but then it's not okay, but because we're depriving them of what they want. Can we, most of the time, and I've asked some women this, most of the time when we want to do something, we already made up our mind what we want to do. Okay, let me say I. When I want to do something, I don't want to speak for Evangelist Nikki and for the ladies that are watching. But when I want to do something, I'm like, babe, this is what I want to do. And my husband normally agrees because my husband is just easygoing. So, he'll agree to it, right? If I want to go to the same restaurant all the time, my husband will be like, okay, babe. And the moment, listen how selfish I am. Say I am. The moment he suggests something different, I'm like, I don't know how the food gonna be over there. But he's like, but you've never tried it. We tend to be creatures of habit, ladies. We tend to be. I don't know. Am I the only one? Ladies, talk to me because I don't want to seem like I'm the only one like that. Is that just Nikki? Are you like that?
Yeah, like you said, we're strong will at times, right? But like you said, you made a key point there. One person might like a walk on the beach, holding hands, that might be romantic for the woman, but guess what? It don't mean nothing to a man. Might not mean anything to a man, but guess what? Because it means something to us, ladies, they will, submit to doing that to fulfill that need for us. No, when the table is turning, like you said, if they want to do skateboard or bike or a bicycle, whatever, paddling and whatever it is that we seems like adventurous, I'm like, that's not for me. It's just for us to say, yes, I support. That means a lot to them, because then we're going to talk about something that they like.
Right.
And we'll get them to do what we like. So we have to give and take. What important to them, we got to make it important to us.
and
So
that
it
is
is
so true.
imperative for us to meet each other halfway because it's a little thing, like you mentioned, it's a little thing that they cherish and you cherish. Because remember, we all have needs, but a lot of time we make our needs become the only priority.
And to me, that's not fair. I remember one
No.
time. I listen when I go to Jamaica, right? I love Glorious. I love Glorious, and this is not Glorious is not sponsoring this session, right? But I love Glorious seafood right on Port Royal, right? And so one night my husband was like, "Babe, let's try this other place." He had gone there, and he was like, "Let's try it." And I'm like, "But I love Glorious. I don't really want to go." And I went, right? And my whole mind was on Glorious. So even though I enjoyed the food and the food was as good, my mind, I couldn't really enjoy myself because all I'm thinking about is this is not Glorious. This is not Glorious. But I had a good time, right? And guess what? The ambiance was better because this was right on the beach. It was like the atmosphere was so nice. And guess what? That atmosphere was more romantic than Glorious. So he was like, afterwards, he was like, see, babe? And I'm like, you know what? I really had a good time. So we become creatures of habit. And if you've been married for a while, your husband just said, okay, baby, just to please us, right? And so, that we want the dinner, we want the candlelight and the long, but that's not what they want. Now, we're going to redefine, and I did this research, right? This research came from Romance Today, right? So this is not my views. This is from Romance Today, right? So the other views were mine, okay? So we're gonna redefine the romance for men from the men's perspective, right? So number one thing that men like to do, and they feel romantic doing it. Playing together is very romantic for men. Just playing together, right? Men want to go out and do things too and view that as incredibly romantic. Playing with their wives, men want to play with their wives, and it makes them feel close, loving, and more intimate. It offers an escape from the ordinary, a time to focus on each other. Now, I have a friend, like her and her spouse, they like working out together. You know
Right.
what I mean? They like, stuff like that, playing golf, just working out, going for bike rides. That's romantic to men, right? But to us, it's we're like, oh no, we're not. I don't want to get sweat. My hair gonna mess up. Listen, you know that ain't your hair you got in there. Put a scarf on it, right? But a lot of times, we as women, we don't want to do all of those things. We want to do something totally different from what the man romanticized romance about. We don't want to do that. We want to do something totally different from what they view romance is. So playing together, that's the number one thing on the list. And I was shocked when I saw that playing together as a couple is what men wanted. I was shocked. Now I was really shocked because like playing together, that would seem like more what women want, but men like it. Men like to take drives out. We don't want to do that unless we're going shopping, right?
Yes. And I mean, and the thing is, no, Evangelist, if we don't ask clarifying question when they said playing together, because what might be playing together for one person or what we might assume, it might be totally different. They might like, go for a long walk. Might not like the gym, but they like to do a long walk around the community, holding on, just picking the roses or picking up a leaf or something, just playing outside the outdoor. You have to know your person. Are they a nurture person? What do they like to do? Do they like sports? Do like to play games, video games or stuff like that. Get to know what games they like, trying to play it with them. Those are other ways. If you don't like, depends on where the weather might change, you might not be able to go
Right.
outside. But there's things that we can ask qualifying questions, because the thing is, they just want us to share those space with them at times.
And
So
listen to
they
this.
feel connected because then you have something to talk about later on.
Yes.
Sometimes you have that pillow talk and you want to talk about the day outside of work, the kids, and we can talk about, it was an amazing game today. I like the way you handled that. You did great. And, we can make it a little challenge next time. And that's how we get to be connected. Those are romance. But people naturally think romance is the candlelit dinner on the beach. I don't live nowhere close to a beach. Okay. That was all it is. I mean, there'll be no romance with me, right? But we can do other thing in the house, right? We can have a Netflix and chill type of night, set the atmosphere, whether on the deck or something. You make it you by communicating with each other and
Yep.
not inserting yourself and say, well, this normally works for me. Ask qualifying questions. What do you like to do? Ask their interest, how they're feeling. Ask those qualifying questions so that way you have something to talk about to be able to connect. Because remember, women, we communicate for emotional connection. Men communicate to find a solution, right?
True.
So a lot of time when we communicating, we're so emotional, we're not hearing what the other person is saying because we're inserting ourselves into their conversation, their thoughts, instead of listening what they're actually saying. Because the first thing, oh, I don't do the gym. Why would you want to take me? Somebody would say that if you want to go to the gym to hang out, but try. How you know you're not gonna like it? I have a phobia with the gym. Honestly, I have this phobia with gym. But guess what? My husband has a gym membership. So every now and then,
Right.
I'm like, no, I'll make the time and I'll go hang out there at the gym with him and he make it so comfortable. I started to like the gym, I think, more than him now because the atmosphere and the way he knows what machine is like. When I go to the gym with him, I'm learning because he's teaching me all these tools. Man, all I know is the stairs, the steps, the basic stuff. He'll show me this work, this upper body, this work your arm, this work your all different parts. I'm like, it's so fascinating to see how he handles the different machine. And to me, when I get to leave now, I get to share that moment with him. They're like, thank you for teaching me. I learned something new and I'm just in awe. And I can call my friends that's a gym buff and I'm like, have you ever used this machine? They tell me how to use this, how to do arm, because there's a way to use the machine so you don't get hurt. And to us, it's romantic for me because I'm building a connection. I'm learning. He's teaching me in the process where I can also teach someone else. Because I was here in the gym because of lack of knowledge, because of other people experience, and I don't do sweat too well in the gym, touching on other people's sweat. But every machine you get to wipe down, you know. So I love the gym now because of the experience that I had with my husband. And not only that, I love quality time. So that's a win-win for me, being around him in the gym. But I don't force myself on his hobby. I let him come to me. What you doing today? And he said he's going to the gym. And he said, would you like to come? I'm like, of course. And he's like, I know you don't like the gym, but if you want to come, the invitation is open. So we have to be mindful, knowing when they want your space and know when they want to share that space with us. And when they do, we make it romantic because, I don't want to be every day going to the gym. I'm ready, getting dressed, and they're like, where you going? Because sometimes they just want to be, their me time, get in their little cage and just be by themselves. But those times they mention it, that means they really want you to be there. So we need to make that sacrifice and make that happen so we can spend those quality moments together. Men are very romantic. It's just that what we tend to see is romantic to them is that, but if we are loving on them and caring for them, serving them and being selfless, we can look back and be grateful that, wow, I didn't look at it that way. Because they're talking and they like to share their interests. Because we said men don't talk a lot, but they do. It's just that we want them to talk to us like a girlfriend, and they're really not.
They're not. They're not our girlfriends. Let me tell you this, right? Most, and this is what the research says, most married men don't want to abandon their wives to do guy things. They want to do the guy thing with their wife.
Yes, I agree.
They want to do stuff with us, ladies. They want to watch football with us. They want to watch basketball with us. Well, I'm just going to say sports. They want to watch sports with us. But because we're not into sports, we murmur and complain. We go stand in front of the TV. We disrupt them with something important, but at the wrong time because it's the fourth quarter of the finals. They don't want to hear you talking to them right then, right? So they like men, our husbands. Greetings to all of those of you on Facebook. Men want to do guy stuff with us. They don't necessarily want to do it with their boys. When they want to hang out with their boys, they will let us know they want to do. But if you say, babe, the game is on, let's watch it together. That's a key indication. And I'm going to say this. Based on the community that I'm a part of, based on the Christian community, ladies, church is not everything. And I'm going to say it again. Church is not everything. Please go out with your spouse other than church. Church is not an outing. That's not romantic. You need to get out and do something with your spouse. I'm telling you. Do some guy things with your spouse. Do things that's going to allow you, keep your spouse wanting to be around you, right? So the number one thing husbands wants to do guy stuff with their wives, right? Listen, let me tell you something. And perhaps a lot of people are like some women who have been missing opportunities to enjoy a romantic time with their husband because they didn't realize it was romance. Like Evangelist Nikki said, who would think going to the gym would be romantic? But it is. It is. We just have to change our perspective, change our mind, change how we view things. Let's change it up. Let's change up the narrative, all right? Now, we redefining romance number two. So the redefinition of romance number two. Romance without sex may not feel complete, right? And this is from a man. Men consider sex to be part of romance. It doesn't always have to be connected, but it does have to happen at the same time. But trust me, it's in the back of his mind, considering these represent these are views coming from men, right? Listen, it's hard to delineate romance without sex. It's all a part of it. And this is from a man's perspective. If men are romantic, they want sex. If
And
they
it's
were
true because one study that I also saw to Evangelist said men define romance as prelude to sex, meaning the
prelude,
end
yes.
goal because they like the end goal.
Mhm.
I do all of this now, so I need to be rewarded at the end.
At the
Right?
end,
For a
yes.
woman, define romance as one of expression of love without, but if we are, like you said, spending time together, that's building up the affection, right? The intimacy at the end of the day. So when he do decide that's what he want, you feel one with each other with no pressure or anything because of the excitement, the joy that you share throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not being ignored. You were spending quality time with each other. You were talking throughout the day. That's leading up to a win-win for me at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Let me say this. This is the perspective from another man. She said, if he says, if a wife only gives sex to get something she wants, that is so hurtful to a guy. Ladies, these are the men, our men are speaking, right? If a wife only gives sex to get something she wants, that is so hurtful to a guy. Sex should not be made a payout after a guy works to earn his wife's favor. Now, ladies, we know plenty of persons who does that, right? A guy wants romance, not to somehow be manipulated by sex, but to re-experience the spark of dating. That's deep. I thought, listen, when I started, I'm like, these men are really deep and emotional. Now, some men would say that they're not emotional, but men are emotional creatures. And
they're more emotional than
romance.
females.
Yes.
Females, I should say. Men are more emotional. It's just the difference is we wear it on our sleeves.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because remember,
Yes.
we communicate to build our emotional stance, where men communicate to find a solution, right? And they don't communicate to us really most of the time unless they have a need.
That is true. That is true. Let me tell you something. It's funny because when we think about romance and sex, right? For some women, I know some women they're not into it unless they want something, and that's not fair to the man. That's not fair to your husband, right? And so if that's the only time you're gonna feel romantic is when you want something for sex, that's not good because you will let him go astray, and you don't want him to lay by Delilah. You don't want that, right? So we need to build up, and men feel like romance builds intimacy. That's also part of the research.
Yes. Yes.
Men, these are men speaking. Men are saying romance builds up the intimacy. They feel loved. Jesus.
Yes. Yes.
They feel loved.
They feel loved. They feel appreciated. They feel valued. That they're not just using them just to, because we see them at times, but we don't think sometimes that we in turn do the same thing that we complain about that they do.
Listen,
because we automatically see men as just sexual objects. All we classify all you were saying all men want is sex.
Right.
No, that's all you want to give.
That's all
mean
that's
what
you
give
want. but you know what too?
I don't want to give him, right?
But this is the thing too. A lot of times we feel like if we give them sex, that's enough. It's not. It's not enough because sometimes women can be disconnected during that. So if there's no romance, if they're not feeling your energy,
right. That's it right there.
Officer
That's it.
Crystal always say it's the energy, it's the vibe, and you can
It
feel it,
is.
right? So
Yeah.
if you guys are at the gym and you're looking good in your workout gear, he's like, wait a minute, let's hurry up and do this workout, right? That's the energy he's feeling, and you're walking all slow, and you let him watch you walk to the next machine. Let me tell you something. That's the build up, and they love that. They want to feel like you appreciate them. I'm sure Mr. McKenzie feels happy when you go to the gym and he has to teach you how to work this machine and teach you how to do this. Listen, it's nothing more sexier to our husbands when they have to teach us something.
But not only that, that bring me into it because man is naturally by nature supposed to be the leader, right? So I feel like he's taking charge in his element and he's teaching me something that I can transfer to someone else. Because he's like, babe, I don't want you to get hurt. You gotta do this form this way. You gotta, because I don't want, and it put him in his protective nature. So he's not doing anything against his nature where he's not comfortable with. And as the mother, we so used to be nurturing others. A lot of time, that's another way for us to be nurtured by our spouse because they do have that in them. Because all the time we're nurturing, right? And we said we're not getting it back. But if we get into their world, get into their element, know what they like to do, what gives them joy, what are their hobbies, right? And we learn it. Because like you said, even if we have a spouse that loves sports, for example, find out what their teams are. What team do they like? Whether it's soccer, baseball, whatever. Find out the team that they like and research it. So you have something to talk about. And you don't have to be on the same team with him because I go the opposite. So my husband is a soccer fan, so whatever team he's rooting for, I'm going to root for the
For the
opposite team
opposite, yes,
to make it
yes,
fun and competitive, right?
yes.
But what I have to do, I have to learn what is the red, the yellow card, and all of these things, right? Just to have a basic knowledge, so that way I'm not stopping in the middle of the game when he's paying attention. Well, what does that mean again? What is that
Right.
for again, right? Because I already show interest by doing my research, so we can have a conversation. A lot of times, evangelists, why they don't want to share with us their hobbies? Because they don't want to stop to teach us.
Right.
Because they don't want us
Right.
to distract them. Because it's like, if you care that much about my hobbies, you should already
You should
research it.
know. You should
You
learn
should
it.
already take the interest to know what it's about. So when we come together now, we're having fun, because that's when the fun part comes in, right? And for the game, the gym is a whole different beast. But for games, we can always know what team, what cup is playing, or whatnot. Those are things that already are available on Google, right, or YouTube. We can find out who's the top performer. And for me, I like basketball. My husband's not a basketball fan, but he watch basketball because of me every now and then. I don't watch the playoffs though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not for the season, I'm for the playoffs. So we'll get into it and we'll compete and so we're gonna bet who's gonna win and stuff like that. And it makes it fun,
Mm-hmm.
right? You don't have to be a whole team fan all the time, but if it's whatever your husband interest is, try to know some basic things about it. Bring that to him, and guess what? That will open him up more to teach you more. But you can't just come from ground zero and you've been with this person like for how long and you complain. You always go playing soccer. Why don't you go see what it's about? Why does he enjoy it so much? You
Exactly.
always playing the game. Find out what it's about it. Because men by nature like to win. They like to compete. That's
Mm-hmm.
their nature.
They're competitors.
We can make it fun by trying to compete with them in a
That's right.
friendly way. We use our competitive to tear them down and all them other stuff. Use it to win them over romantically. Use those competition skills to win them in a fun game. Bet who's gonna do the next chores if this team win. Just make it fun. And that's romantic for them because we're showing interest.
Hmm. And you know it too. Hi, Lady Sophia Jordan on Facebook. Let me tell you something. Men, let me tell you something else. Remember, I said I interviewed men and we researched about what men want, right? Now here's another thing. Men often feel most loved by their wives in their life when their partner hugs them. Hmm.
Oh yes, it is a big thing. It is a
How
big thing.
often do you hug your spouse? How
It
often?
is.
We
It
always
is a
want them to
big
come
deal.
hug us. Like
Yes.
we always want from them, but we're not giving them what we
We're not
want, and
reciprocating back.
we're
We're
not
not
reciprocating
reciprocating.
that, right? They
They
want
like when they hug us because one of the surveys said that's the number one thing and smile.
yeah, yes,
They
smile,
love
kiss
when
them,
we smile.
and also kiss them. Now we know we like when we know we like when they kiss us. They like when we kiss them. Now it's nothing like that kiss on the forehead. Woo!
Say less, say less.
Woo! Right? So listen, ladies, we're trying here. Our goal on prayer for marriages is to rebuild, families, to rebuild marriages, one family at a time, right? So if a family's listening today, if a wife is listening or a husband is listening today, I want you to take note on how to love on your husband, how to show your husband romance without it doesn't necessarily have to mean sex, but how to romance your husband. Kiss him, hug him, smile at him. We don't
Yes.
smile too much at our spouse. Let me tell you something.
No.
When I call my husband on video and I'm smiling, my husband is like, "Why you smile so wide?" And I'm like, "Cause I'm looking at the most handsome man in the world." And I'm like,
There you
and
go.
and I make him blush, and he blushes. So listen, ladies, we need to let our spouses blush. We need to let our husbands blush. What are we doing to cause our husband to smile? Are we smiling at them? We need
Right.
to do. We listen. Just like how what we want, we know what we want. They want the same
Mhm.
thing, if not more. It could. I think it's
And one
never
other thing
what
that
we
we do,
want.
Evangelist, we give all of that to the workplace. It
Yes.
doesn't matter what time of day we're having at the workplace. You
Mhm.
could have a deadline, you're up against a task. We'll see our colleagues, our peers, our manager, and we have a smile on our face. But we
Yes.
come home now to our spouse, we feel like we give it all away, so there's none left for you. No, no,
Mm-mm,
no.
mm-mm.
That's where
That's
it
when it
begins.
started.
That's where it's supposed to start. Home is our first ministry. And like you said, we don't want to reciprocate. And what I noticed with a lot of men, if they started us off in the courting stage where they're always the one hugging, they're the one always kissing, they're the one always smiling first. We expect now that we married, they should continue. No, they already what they were showing you in the dating stage was what they need, is what they crave.
Yes.
That's
Absolutely.
how they speak. Whatever a man gives you when you're in the dating stage, that's what they're telling you. This is me. This is what I crave. So
Mhm.
now we have to reciprocate. I always believe in welcoming your spouse home. No matter what you got going on, you drop it and you welcome them home with a smile on your face.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things most of us bring the cares of the world, the kids, the dinner, the chores, the laundry, that we can take time to smile at our spouse or at our children or the people that matters to us the most. But if your boss called you right then on the phone, we put a smile in our voice,
We
though. We
put
might
a
be
smile.
kicking the
That's
cat on the
right.
back end, but they're not going to get that side of us, right? But our spouse will get it. So let's rewrite the wrong. Whatever we're saying for romance, because a lot of times people think romance, I don't have the money, I don't have the time, I don't have this. We all get 24. We're saying
Mhm.
the basic things that you're doing on a day to day. Change the way you do it, change your attitude, put a
Mhm.
smile, make an effort, show interest. It doesn't take money to be romantic. It just take
No.
a willing heart.
Just take a willing
You know,
heart. A
it just
willing
take a willing
heart.
heart to change our perspective.
That's true. Let me tell you something. I find that when like I'm always hugging, and men like to be touched. Men like to be touched. They do. When I touch my husband, he's like, "Hey," you know. We listen. Just like ladies, we like to be touched, and I'm not. I don't understand how some ladies they scared to touch their spouse. Listen, that's your husband. Listen,
Well,
I
my
understand.
second love language is physical touch. So that part, physical touch, which is my
Listen.
husband. Number two, we both number two love language is physical touch. So yeah, I'm a touchy touchy type of girl, and he's a touchy touchy type of guy. So we ain't got that issue.
Let me tell you, but men also say it's not necessarily about sex, but to them, romance usually means touching them, hugging them, kissing them, playing with them, doing things that they also like, not necessarily what we want all the time. I'm gonna challenge the wives that are listening, and I want you to practice these things on your spouses, because and watch the difference. Lord Jesus, it's August. September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. If a whole bunch of people I know have babies in May, then I know because you listened on August 29th and you touched your husband, and now the fruit of the labor is a little bouncing baby boy or girl, right? So I want us to start romancing our spouses. I'm telling you, you will feel so much better about your spouse. It doesn't, like Evangelist Nikki said something so important. Romance don't cost nothing but your time and attention to your spouse. That's all it costs. And who don't want to spend their time with their spouse? Listen, like I know a young lady said, "Oh, I don't have time. You know, my husband works late and he come home, he go in the shower. Get in the shower with him. That's time."
And one of the things they can do, if she already take a shower, she don't want to get in the shower, you can prepare is towel. Like what I usually do sometimes, put it in the dryer, like when you go to the spa and they give it a warm towel. You can do that for your spouse, and when he's about to get out of the dryer, you meet him with the towel and give him that warm towel. Trust me, that will put wonders. It's a little thing. Just put the effort in the little thing. Don't be like, oh, here's your towel, right? Present it in a way that you'd want to be presented. That's why we go to the salon, just want to be catered to, right? Do the same thing for yourself. It doesn't take money, ladies. Just warm his towel every now and then. I'm not saying all the time, but make an effort every now and then, right? If he comes home late, you already showered and stuff, take a little 5 minutes just to get up. Put that in the shower, in the dryer for him. Run that towel in the warm dryer right there. So when he comes out, you have a warm towel for him. Try that. I mean, the simple things we're saying, everything that we're saying here, it's not we're saying go to your spouse and tell him to do that. It's something that we are all empowered to do if we put the effort in to do it. We all can do these simple things, and it means a lot to them. They like our undivided attention the same way we like that. They like when they're speaking to us, we're giving them eye-to-eye contact, right? Because when we don't like them, we complain that the men are always on their phone, always playing games or whatever. But a lot of time they're speaking to us. What are we doing? We're on TikTok, we're on IG, or we're on our phone, our own self. But then we're telling them when it's time that we want to talk, they need to give us our undivided attention. Men want that as well too. So we got to practice the things that we preach when it comes on to the men, that they do crave that.
They do, and let me tell you, I'm gonna tell you something. I did this when I was doing the research. I saw this, right, and it says what makes a man fall deeply in love with their wife. Three elements. Three elements that provides a man strong sense of attachment. They want to know that you're attached to them, right? Sexually compatible. That's very important. And security. Make them fall head over heels in love with you. Just like we want security, the men also want security, ladies. I'm telling you. Now remember, blessings, Lady Jackie. Remember, I'm doing romance. What a man wants and what a woman wants versus what a woman wants in romance. I'm coming from the men's perspective today. I'm leading on the men's perspective. Evangelist Nikki will talk about the women. So this is, you might say, but what about the women? We're talking about what to do to romanticize our men, to make our men fall back in love with us and stay in love with us and head over heels in love with us, that when he go to work, then and somebody tries to push up on him, he's like, no, my boo at home, no. I got something at home that's better than this, right? So we want to make sure that we are attached to them, right? Listen. When was the last time that you tell your spouse that you really love them? When was the last time, and it was not because he gave you some money? When was the last time, you said, honey, I really, truly love you? They want to hear that. Just like how we want to hear it, they want to hear it. Write them a love letter. Write your spouse a love letter. Now, we're not doing letters anymore, right? But we can send a text.
Right. Or voice noted.
We can do a voice note, right? We can go to, they still have cards at the card store. We can go and buy a really nice card, right? Cook a nice dinner, right? The game is coming on. Order in. Evangelist Nikki's
Listen,
not
just
afraid to
do
say
something. Just don't do anything. Do something is what we're
do
saying.
something, right? Listen. If his favorite sport is coming on, whatever the sport it is, and it's the finals. Make sure you have some snacks and stuff prepared for him. If he invite a few friends over, you know what I mean, and you don't feel like joining them, right? Make sure you have some snacks for them. Make sure you're not in the way. Like Nikki,
Right.
like Evangelist Nikki said, asking a bunch of questions, but you're learning the sport. You're showing that you're interested in them. That's what it shows. And then guess what? The next playoff, it'll just be you and him. It'll
And
just
for
be
a bonus, get a jersey. Get a jersey with his name on it as a team of one, or make
yeah.
it fun. Make it
Make it fun.
interesting. Just like you were dating. We put in all those effort to go out of our way because we're listening attentively to what they like. But we didn't take notes. We let it go through 1 year, all the other, and now we're married, and it's all about us. Everything that they were doing and saying in the dating stage, you were taking notes. They're still the same. And they're telling you those are the things that they want. We need to be more intensive in doing the basic things on an everyday basis. Like you said, romance is not something on a holiday or on a birthday or on an anniversary. It's the little thing that we do in our day to day that
Day
makes
to
it.
day. Day to day. And let me, I'm going to give you some more tips, right? And I want you to practice them. I want you to do them. When was the last time you flirt with your husband? When was the last time you flirt with him? Flirt with him, honey. Flirt with
Yep.
him. Make him priority. Make him
And a lot of women get scared when we said that, Evangelist, because when we said flirt, they're thinking in there, listen, if you are scared of sex, it's because of how you were raised, what was taught to you, what you heard from others. Flush that out. The person that you say I do, to have a conversation with them, what it means to you, outside other people's opinion and experience, right? What does it mean to him, right? Because we're thinking sex for me, when I heard the word sex, because I have to learn the language. When I heard the word sex, I usually heard, the end goal. For me, it's the whole romance. It's the affection. It's the intimacy. It's the flirting. For me, it's the build up to get to the end goal, the destination for us women. We need to let the men in our lives know that's what's important, right? Not the end, because men like to get to the end result. If you make that a priority, he's gonna make it a priority. But if you like the destination, like Evangelist said, send a text message. Hey, I'm thinking about you. Can't wait to see you, right? Something to get his mind thinking about not just the end goal, but how can he come home and make you feel better by a hug. He can't wait to hug you when he get home. And you're thinking, so if we take out sex off the table and just focus on the person being desired, because that's what a lot of women does. We'll spend time speaking to a different person. That's why women have more emotional affair than men, because we're saying our spouse is not listening, because we are speaking in a way where they're feeling defensive. We're not speaking with grace and honey by telling them I appreciate you, like you said. When last you said I love you, babe. Thank you for choosing me. And if you ask me again, I'll say yes a million times all over. Simple little things like that. And a lot of people say, good work, who have time? Listen, if you can find time to talk to your girlfriend, if you can find time to watch a soap opera, if you can find time to be on TikTok, whatever social media your pastime is, take 5 minutes out of that and dedicate that time to your spouse, to serve them. Because we're all here to serve each other, but a lot of times we just want to be served.
That's true.
Men are romantic if we let them understand that we're catering to them. They will give you the moon and back. But a lot of times the wall is built up, and then, like you said, Evangelist, a lot of people is turned off because the first thing we're hearing, let me shock you. Men, yes, they love sex. That's their nature. They are men. That's their nature. That's why they have more testosterone than we do. So if you're in a marriage and you're surprised that this person wants sex, then obviously you did not court properly. You did not ask qualifying questions properly, because they do. And when I say sex, it doesn't mean just the end result. They like to touch. They like to be hugged. They like to be kissed. They like to hear those little words like, baby, I appreciate you. That, even sometimes you don't have to say, I love you, but the fact that you said, I appreciate you, thank you for taking care of our family. And some person might say, well, he's not working right now. What am I supposed to thank him for? He's not a provider. No, it didn't say that only when he bring home money. The fact that he chose you and the fact that you're there with him, there's other stuff he contributes. Taking out the garbage, helping around the house. Thank you for the little things then that he does because those things become the big thing when they stop. Somebody
Mm-hmm.
don't mow the lawn, you're gonna get some notice from your HOA or something, right? So thank you for taking care of that. He's out there, get him a glass of lemonade or something, bring him something outside. Let him say no. Bring him a bottle of water. Thank you. It's the basic things that doesn't
It's the
cost
basic
money is
thing.
important, but we make money become a big thing when we want to do romance for our spouse. Take
That's
money
true.
off the take sex off the window and look at that person. How would you want to be catered to if your spouse didn't want to have sex with you? How would you want him to cater to you? Use that mindset. So if you're thinking you're only pursuing you for sex, so if you were pursuing him and it's not for sex, how would you cater to him?
Right. Right.
Treat him that way.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't get that, man, he's going to want, well, at the end of the day, they're men. And that's why opposites, yeah,
That's right.
they have their needs and we have our needs. You want intimacy, you want affection, romance them. Get candlelight too. If they need, because if you like it for yourself, you might like it too. How would
You
you know
might
if you
like
don't
it
try
too.
the last? You just dim the light. You know, nowadays it's so easy because now you don't have to even get the candle. They have the bulbs, them that change colors and all of that mess.
Right.
And they have the remotes and everything. So there's so many different ways to do things to serve each other daily, so it doesn't go dry. Because remember, romance it has to stay alive. It needs us to keep it alive.
It
We can't
does.
say, oh, that was when we were dating. We don't do that no more. No,
No.
you stop. Don't tell me what he's not doing, what he used to do when you were courting. Tell me what have you done different since you said I do. Don't say the romance is dead over you because I hear somebody said, oh, that's for y'all younger folks that just got married. Honey, I'm in 20 years, in 30 years, and we don't do that. No, you choose to stop doing that. Romance don't stop unless you stop it.
That's true because they ask the question, how long does romance last? And they say 6 months to 4 years. But listen, mine is going on 14 years.
Yes.
I don't know. Mine is going on 14 years because it's
For it to
something
stay
positive.
alive, we have to stay alive.
Yeah,
Keep it alive, I should say.
you have
It's
to
an
keep it alive.
everyday process. It's not that one and done, set it and forget it. It's the simple things that we do
The very
daily, but
simple thing.
doing different, even if you're giving a gift. Like, for example, say if your spouse, like, say, for example, it's his phone and it's on the charger, right? You know exactly where I'm going to put his phone to charge. Put a little card right there, right? Send him say, oh babe, did you put your phone on the charger? Something. Send him on a hunt because they men like the hunting, right?
They
Where
are
he like his
hunters.
favorite coffee, his favorite chair, whatever. Put a little surprise there. It's the same little thing you're giving him, but it's just a thought within it. Put a little surprise by his pillow when he get there so he can see. We want that for ourselves. Do it for him, and you'll see a difference. We're not saying go buy this, go buy that, because we know times is rough and whatnot. We're saying the basic everyday things. Put the thought in it.
Yes.
Put a little card there or a little sticky note. I appreciate you. I'm
Hmm.
thinking about you.
And you
You
know what
know,
else you can do too? You know what? If you have children and they're young, get a sitter for the night or for the evening. You know what I mean? Get a sitter for like 2 3 hours. When he come home from work, it's just you and him in the house until the kids come back. Do little things, or if you have an older child, let them go to the movies, like the afternoon movie, and then come back in. So it's so many things that we can do to reignite the romance if it has gone up. Men want to be romance. Men want to be romance. Let me tell you something. Never forget, men crave romance. It's not just us, ladies, I'm telling you. And again, welcome again to everyone. We're almost at the end of our hour. Men crave romance and connection just as much as we crave it. And I think they crave it more, but because of the way society is, so
the
that's what
stigma, yeah.
the stigma. Let's change the trajectory of that and let us give our men more romance. Let us not wait for them to give it to us, but let's give it to them. And I know our sound engineer, brother Andre, behind the scenes, is cracking up laughing, because I always mess with him. I was like, "Do you really be listening?" He's like, "Evangelist, I'll be listening." So let me tell you something. Men need romance. They crave it. They love it. They yearn for it. Just try it. Just try it. Listen, nothing beats a failure but a try. You want to see your husband smile? Flirt with him. Touch him. You
And
listen.
smile more. Smile
Smile
more at
more.
our spouse.
Hug them.
Smile
Kiss
more.
them. Kiss them on the forehead like how They love to kiss us on the forehead, tippy toe up. If your husband is tall, tippy toe up, or stand on a chair or a ladder and say, "Come here, baby." Just say, "Come here, baby." They're gonna think you need they need you to help they're gonna
pull
think
down something or get
yeah,
something from the
they're
shelf or
gonna think that
so.
you want to get them something and just grab them, kiss them on their forehead. That will be so good, and I'm telling you, you do that often enough, your husband will come home earlier and earlier and earlier. He won't stay out. I'm telling you. Like just to recap of one thing that I want to say, to repeat that we said earlier. Men don't want to do guy stuff with their guy friends. They want to do guy stuff with their wives. Ladies, let's start paying attention to what our spouse, our husband wants. Remember, this is woman versus man. What does a man want? What does a woman want? Romance. Men versus women. What men want versus what women want. So tonight we spoke about, what the men want tonight, and I took the lead on that. Eventually, think he's going to come back and take the lead on what women want, but not next Monday, because next Monday is Labor Day. It's a holiday. Listen, get that touchy-feely going on Labor Day. I know most people barbecue. They have cookouts. Listen, invite people over. Listen, put a time limit on how long those folks stay, because you got to touch your husband. You got to kiss him. All right.
Appreciate him to be around the grill, for taking him to the
Yes,
barbecue and stuff.
get him a nice apron. Get him a nice apron for the grill. You know what I mean? So let's do something nice for our spouses this week. All right. I'm challenging all the wives. Do something nice. Flirt for your spouse. Flirt with your spouse. Sister Takesha. Flirt with your spouse. Humble girl. Lady Joylette. I don't think Lady Joylette is married. Those of you that are married that are listening, flirt with your spouse, kiss them. And those of you that are
if you're courting or if you're in a courting stage, take notes, because whatever that person is doing is what they're gonna be like when you do get married. Those are the things that they crave.
Those are the things that they crave. Amen. Listen, our time is up, but we thank you for your time. Again, we thank you for another time of prayer for marriages, where we just love to teach you and encourage you how to make your marriage more successful and healthy, no matter how long you've been married, all right? So we love you. We thank you. Have an awesome night. God bless you. Those of you on Facebook, go ahead and share this session out. Those of you on YouTube, please go ahead and share. If you have not yet subscribed to our Prayer for Marriage page on Facebook, please like our page on Facebook. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Marcia Baker's Ministries. Make it a great evening, everyone. Happy Monday again. Have a good evening and happy end of August. God bless you and good night. We love you.
Bye for now, everyone.